The Falcon and the Winter Soldier first 3 episodes moo review. Something that I kind of like to do with TV shows is watch the first episode, do a moo review on that, but also I sometimes like to just watch the first 3 episodes of a new show so that you kind of get a gist for if it's going to end up being good or not, and then do a moo review on that. So I already did a moo review on the first episode of this show, and I think I gave it a B. And looking back on that episode, it did have some promise, so I don't really take away the grade, but looking back on it, I don't really know if I would give it a B. I might give it a B minus. Something about that episode was that it just seemed like it was a little bit slow, but since it's the first episode of a TV show, I didn't really make that, I didn't really factor that into the grade. I didn't think that it would continue on to be slow, but after the first 3 episodes of this show, this is a really slow show, and there are a lot of really boring parts. And I think a large reason of why I didn't really notice it as much in the second episode is because they started to build a storyline between the rivalry between the new Captain America and Bucky and the Falcon. And I thought that that was a really good storyline that they were going to continue with throughout the entire season. I thought that that was going to be the main storyline of this season, was that there's a new Captain America, he's a fraud, he's evil, they're enemies, and Bucky and the Winter Soldier, or Bucky and the Falcon, need to work together to take him down. And they don't really like each other that much, but they're still going to work together because they were both friends with Captain America, and they're doing this in his memory and for him in his honor. And I thought that was what the main premise of the show was going to be. And although that's what happened it was sort of hinted at in episode 1, and then that storyline actually did progress a little bit in episode 2 with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming in a confrontation with the new Captain America, and he was telling them, like, stay out of my way or else, or something like that. And then they separated and they went their own separate ways. And they didn't really continue that at all in the third episode. It seems like they're taking the show in a completely different route, then a completely different storyline, and a lot of it's really boring too. It's just, there's not that much action, which would be fine because there's a lot of good and interesting shows, even superhero shows, that aren't crazy action packed, but they still manage to be good. But this one, it really needs to have more action in it, I think. I mean, there just isn't enough for it to be fun to watch, I guess. But aside from that, the storyline isn't really that interesting either. It's not like progressing at all. And it's really kind of disappointing to see because from the first episode, I thought that they were going to have a different take with this show, but it seems that that take is kind of falling apart and it's not good. It's turning into something that's just boring to watch. It's not interesting anymore. I don't even know if I want to continue it, but I'm probably going to stick it out and watch at least 1 or 2 more episodes, and if those aren't good, then I'm just going to give it up from there. One of my biggest criticisms that I have for the show is that it's not really being its own thing. It seems like it's relying, especially in episode 3, on characters from the Marvel Universe, and they're not even characters that are big, prominent characters either. They're just like these side characters that, I mean, I'm a huge Marvel fan, but to be honest here, I don't even know any of these characters' names at all. I mean, at the end of the second episode, the very end, they show a scene of that guy from um, Captain America Civil War, the main villain, and he's probably the least prominent villain and one of the worst villains in the entire MCU. I don't even know what his name is, and I know every, almost all the other MCU villains. This one is the one that I care about the least, and they're showing him being in a jail cell at the end of episode 2, and that's what the show is using to get you to want to watch the next episode. And I just didn't really care about it then because I don't care about that character. He played almost no part. I mean, his screen time was probably like a minute in the actual movie that he was in. Okay, it wasn't really a minute, it was probably like 3 minutes or something like that. But he didn't play a big role in that movie, and I didn't really care about him that much. That movie was about the Avengers fighting, not about the Avengers fighting a villain. It was about them fighting each other. And so yeah, I don't really care about his character, and he was introduced onto this show. Then later on in the third episode, they introduced that girl that was monitoring Captain America from across the hallway while he was living in a hotel or something like that. I don't know what her name is, but I think she's Agent Carter's niece or something like that. I don't know what her name is again, but she's just another side character that they are putting into the show. And then at the end of episode 3, they show one of Black Panther's bald-headed uh, lady guards that carry those spears, except this time she doesn't even have a spear, I don't think. They show her at the very end, and this is our motivation to want to watch episode 4. And they just keep on bringing in all these extra side characters that people don't even know their names. At least I don't know their names, and I'm a huge Marvel fan. So if I don't know their names, and being as big of a Marvel fan as I am, I'm guessing that a lot of other people don't know their names either, and thus probably don't really care that much about them. So they're just using all these other characters from previous movies, not even main characters. They're using all these previous side characters to get you to want to watch the show more. It seems like they don't really know where they're going. There's tons of boring scenes. There's not very many fight scenes, and the fight scenes that there are kind of shot in like the shaky motion with the camera, and it's just not really that good overall. There's not really anything good about the show except for some of the acting. The acting is good, but it's not like it's not the actor's fault. I'm not saying that it's the actor's fault, but they're not really given that much to work with, it seems here. Sebastian Stan and I don't know the actor's name who plays the Falcon, but they're both good actors. I like them both in the show, but they're just really not given that much to work with here. So also, I really wish that they just stuck with the um, like the evil Captain America. The new Captain America is an imposter. They don't like him. They're enemies with him. And it would have been really cool if they just, like fought him the entire show and he was like the main antagonist and he was like rubbing it in their faces that he's the new Captain America and everybody loves him. But behind the scenes, he's a fraud and he's evil. That would have been cool. That would have been a good storyline. It's very similar to The Boys. That would have been cool. That would have been a good storyline. That would have been something that kept me interested. Introducing new characters into the show that were in previous movies wouldn't really matter as much because that wouldn't be the main motivation to watch the show. That would that would just be like a little bonus. That would just be like a little treat for anybody who likes those characters. But yeah, I really wish that they just used that storyline instead of the one that they're using. I mean, half the time in this show, I don't even know what's going on, especially in episode 3. But yeah, now that I've watched 3 episodes, I'm going to have to lower the grade. I don't know, man. I mean, it pains me to say it, but it's either like a D plus or a C minus. I'm leaning a little more towards the C minus, but I mean, I don't know. It's gotten pretty boring so far. I'm hoping that it pulls itself together, but I really looking at the path that they're going down, it doesn't really seem like it's going to that much. So I'm going to have to give The Falcon and the Winter Soldier the first 3 episodes on the movie review scale. It gets a C minus, and that pains me to say it because the first episode, although it did seem a little slow, it seemed promising, and I think I gave it a B. Maybe I gave it a B minus, but I think I gave it a B. And it looks like the promise is kind of going out the window. So, I really hope that they are able to pull it together, but it doesn't, I don't really have that much hope for it. But that being said, yeah, it gets a C minus on the movie review scale. Let me know what you guys thought of this show in the comment section down below. If you actually liked it, let me know why you liked it. I'm not going to like tell you that your opinion's wrong or anything. I genuinely want to hear different opinions about these shows and movies that I'm reviewing. So let me know in the comments down below if you have a different opinion from me. And as always, again, thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.